There we go. Cool, so we're going to start off with a little bit of a warm-up. So the first thing that we're going to do is roll the wrists. And reverse the direction. Good, and now squeeze your hands together tight and then open them up as much as you can. Squeeze and open. Three, two, and one. Okay, now either extending one foot out on the floor or extending one foot up onto a box or another chair or couch or bed. We're gonna lean forward and reach, and then you're gonna slide back up. So we're doing repetition. So go ahead and reach forward, hold, and then come back up to a fully upright position. And then slide down, reach forward, hold, and then come back up. Keep repeating that. We have 15 more seconds. This is just to help warm up your body for all of the stretching we're going to do. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, switching legs, same thing. Ready, set, and go. Reach forward, and then slide up. Good, and keep repeating. Ten seconds left. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we're going to move into a seated hip stretch. This is still going to be a stretch / warm up. So when doing this seated hip stretch, let's try to get your foot to be hanging off. So try not to do it like this. Try to make sure that whole leg is up there and your foot is hanging off. Okay, once you're in this position, the timer has started, you're gonna roll your foot. So grab that foot that's hanging. So now we're getting a hip stretch and an ankle warm up. And reverse the direction at which you're rolling your foot. 3, 2, and 1. Switching legs. Get into your seated hip stretch position. Make sure your foot is hanging off of your leg. And ready, go. So rolling your foot one direction. Try to keep that foot relaxed. Try not to help your hand roll your foot. Try to keep it nice and relaxed. And reverse the direction. 3, 2, and 1. Place both feet down on the ground, nice and wide. And now you're going to reach down for the ground, tucking your chin into the chest, and then come up and reach up for the sky, reaching your hands up nice and tall. Ready, set, go. Almost there. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, the next warm-up one, and this will be our last warm-up exercise / stretch, but we're going to have the legs nice and far apart, and you're going to lean and reach, lean and reach. Good. Almost there. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. We are now going to go into the nice slow holds for our stretches. So let's start with our seated hamstring stretch. So again, either extending your leg on the floor, extending it up onto a chair next to you, or if you are on a bench like me, you can extend your leg onto the bench. And go ahead and reach. We're going to hold this for about 30 seconds. Try tucking your chin into your chest to help stretch out your spine. And focus on nice, slow, deep breaths. And rest. Go ahead and switch legs. Again, working on your breathing. Tuck your chin into your chest. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, we are going to move into a seated hip stretch, but the one where we hug our knee with the opposite arm. So cross one leg over the other and take this opposite arm and try to lean forward and hook your knee, bringing it up to your chest. We're holding this for 30 seconds. So if you're hugging your left leg, you want to try to turn your torso to the left. If you're hugging your right leg, you'll want to try to turn your torso and shoulders to the right. So again, nice hip stretch. Keep holding, we're almost there. 3, 2, and 1. And so we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So cross the leg over, turn your body towards the leg that's crossed. Take that opposite arm, hook that knee, and hug it up close. Nice, slow, deep breath. And rest. Okay, we're gonna move into some standing stretches and then we will finish the stretch class with our seated stretches again, and we'll add in different ones. So go ahead and stand up. We're going to use the chair now as a prop. So our first stretch that we're going to do, you're gonna have your feet together and you're standing close to the seat of your chair. Feet nice and close together, legs as straight as you can keep them. And then you're either gonna bring your hands down to the seat of your chair like this, or your forearms. Tuck your chin into your chest and focus on your breathing. 3, 2, and 1. Come on up. Good. And now we're going to do legs nice and far apart. So if you think they're wide enough, go a little bit wider. Now, when we do our normal warm-ups for our workouts, you know how we do our tilting our hips side to side? So we're not leaning from our upper body, but we're pushing your hip one way and then pushing your hip the other way. We're going to do that, but with our hands on the seat of our chair. So that's why I'm facing you this way. So once your hands are on the seat of your chair or your forearms, you're gonna then shift your weight and try to push your hips out to one side, and then shift your weight and try to push your hips out to the other side. So take your time. You're going to switch sides, hold it for 1 or 2 enchiladas, and then switch again. 1 enchilada, 2 enchilada, switch. 1 enchilada, 2 enchilada. Keep going back and forth. Three, 2, and 1. Come on up. Okay, we are now going to move into your front hip stretch. So we're trying to stretch out this area right here, the front part of your hip. So if you were to bend over and feel where your hip crease is, that's where you should feel the stretch that we're about to do. Or if you march your leg up, that crease that is created right there, that's where you should feel the stretch that we're about to try to do. Now the stretch will look different on everyone, so just because it looks one way when I do it, doesn't necessarily mean that will be the angle that you feel a stretch at. So this is going to be the back of my chair. I'm gonna hold on to it with my right hand, which means my right leg's gonna go forward. So whichever hand you're holding onto the chair with, that same leg goes forward. And you're just holding onto the chair for balance. Now step your other leg back behind you, nice and far. If you need to inch your feet apart to get farther apart, do so. Excuse me. From here, keeping this leg nice and tight, you're trying to push off that leg. You're gonna try to angle your hips upright. You can always bend your front leg a little bit too, which can help increase the stretch. From here, you can always take your back arm and reach up to the sky. You should feel a stretch in that front part of the hip. If you do not, you need to play around with your angle. Maybe try angling your hip up towards the ceiling a little bit more. Maybe try pushing off that back leg a little bit more. Try bending the front leg a little more, but play around until you feel a stretch. 3, 2, and 1. Switching sides, doing the same stretch. So again, stand nice and far apart. Angle that back leg. Try to push off that back leg to angle your hips to point upward. You can bend the front leg and lean onto it. Lift up that arm. The free arm should be up overhead, increasing the stretch of that hip. Three, 2, and 1. Very good. Okay, while we're standing, we're going to do another version of our hamstring stretch using the seat of the chair. So this time, I want everyone to try to get their forearms to the chair because you're going to get to bend your knees a little. So you can have your feet nice and close together. They don't need to be touching, but nice and close together. Loose bend in the knees, and then bend forward, bringing your elbows to your chair. Now, I don't want you to be squatting. I want just a soft bend in the knee. The leg should still be mostly straight, just a soft bend in the knee. And you can tuck your chin into your chest while doing this stretch. 3, 2, and 1. Good. And let's go ahead and take a seat. Moving back to our seated stuff now. Okay, so the first one we're going to do in our seated position is our seated hip stretch, but just plain old seated hip stretch. You don't need to roll your ankle, you don't need to hug your knee. If you need to feel a deeper stretch, either sit up taller or lean forward. Go ahead and try to make a nice increase in that stretch. Every breath out, you should try to be increasing your stretch a little bit. Nice, slow, deep breaths. Three, 2, and 1. Switching legs. And your timer has started. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, let's give our lower body a little bit of a break. We'll do some upper body stretches now. The first upper body stretch that we'll do is going to be your arm stretch like this, pulling the arm across the body. We're going to be holding this for 30 seconds on each arm. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, switching arm, same stretch. Almost there. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so we're going to be doing some neck stretches, but before we do our neck stretches, I want to do just a few neck warm-ups before we go into some of those deeper stretches. So our warm-ups will be shorter than they normally are, but we're going to start off with looking left to right. Go ahead and go. When you look left and right, you really want to try to look over your shoulder as much as you can every time. And rest. And now we're going to go side to side, ear to shoulder, ear to shoulder. Try not to lean like this when you tilt your head. Try to just move the head. Good. And now teeth together, looking up and looking down. Good. And lastly, partial neck roll. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, so the first neck stretch that we'll do Right hand on the left butt cheek, left ear to left shoulder, and then with that left hand, apply some pressure. You want to make sure that you're applying pressure to the side. We're not pulling our nose to our armpit. We're trying to elongate your trap and the side part of your neck. 3, 2, and 1, and switch sides. And rest. Okay, switching arms again. This time we're doing nose to armpit. Apply downward angular pressure. And switch. And rest. Now place both hands on your thighs, sitting up nice and tall. This is our last neck stretch, and then we'll leave your neck alone. You're gonna look over your shoulder, then tilt the head back, keeping your teeth together. And switch. Look over the shoulder, then tilt the head back. And come back into the middle. And the next one, you're gonna grab onto your opposite knee with the opposite arm. Shoulder goes to your thigh. And then reach up and over. Three, 2, and 1. And switch sides. And come on up. And then let's reach down for the ground, doing a lower back stretch. Tuck your chin into your chest. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, so we are done stretching, but I have 2 stretches for you guys to do once we log off. So 2 stretches once we log off. Our first stretch, you know what this means. Usually when there's a wall involved and we're stretching, you've got your wall stretch like this. If you're not using a door or a wall, but a countertop, then you might just have to scoot out farther away from it, okay? So that's the first stretch I want you to do on your own, holding it for about 30 seconds. Second stretch that I want you guys to do is your calf stretch. So elevating the ball of your foot onto a dumbbell, stretching your calf. So just elevating that little bit of the foot, you should feel a stretch in that lower back part of your leg, right above your heel. Okay.